Hello everybody. Today we're back with day 30 of the Blue White Approach deck. Again, we have no immolating glares and we have no Effer meltdowns in this particular version. We also have cut all the 40 of the councils out of the sideboard. I've just decided it was too much of an ask to try to continually beat the mono red decks. So I just cut all the cards against mono red and just going to hope we don't get paired versus it, or if we do, that we run a little hot. As you noticed on the last blue-white stream, we did get paired versus it twice, and we ran hot enough to beat it without those cards, but we realize we are at a serious disadvantage when we make those changes. So, we're going to be testing this another league. There's still, I realize that this is kind of in a low standard point right now, and that a lot of people aren't very interested in it because the format's coming to an end in 2 weeks' time, 1 week's time on MTGO. But there still is the SCG Classic in Louisville this upcoming weekend. I probably won't go to it. If it was an open, I would most likely go to it, but I don't think I want to drive 3.5 hours just for a Classic, and I'm not into Modern, so anyway, we'll just run this again for people who care. I think there's actual nationals this weekend in a lot of countries as well. Maybe it's next weekend. I'm not sure. I think there's another nationals. I'm not actually sure. But so yeah, we'll just continue to keep testing this a little bit. I am pretty sure that if I was going to a larger event, as of right now, this is the 75 I would play. That being said, I may just cower it out and play Teamer like everybody else. Alright, so we won the dice row, and this hand's pretty good. We have a counter spell, a card that can cycle, and just like an early interactive spell. And we have Glimmer, which you can never have enough Glimmers. We're definitely not cycling the Censor, we just could if we needed to. We get paired versus the one deck that this hand's probably not great versus. I feel like a pretty big advantage versus the blue-red decks in general, but now that I see a Rivulet, I'm probably not an advantage. Typically want all of our lands. He could still just be a God Pharaoh's Gift deck, which is what those two lands would make me think of more, but the fact that he didn't have any 1 or 2 drops would be okay. We see a Censor. We just think he's a blue-red deck now that's added Rivulets, which is a very good addition to his deck, and it's going to make our match a lot harder versus him. Considering that's our plan for beating him game 1, so. I felt like this standard's been a lot like Modern. Like, it's not been one of my favorite standards that they ever have been, but like, if all you care about is deck diversity, then this is a good standard for you. If deck diversity is your main get, or your main ask. Like, there's still plenty of decks. Like, the format's not solved. There's clearly 2 decks that are better than the other decks, but like, that doesn't make the other decks not playable. Like, Mono Red and Team are clearly the 2 best decks. Opponent is missing a land drop here. So let's just cycle a bunch of things. I don't want to go ahead and cast the Glimmer into just a counterspell. I don't want to cycle the other casts out either. Like, there's a good chance we need it, but I'm only playing these spells when we need to draw a land. Alright, so I'm going to let him resolve his because mainly I want to resolve mine. Actually, I'll probably Supreme Will his. We're going to keep both of these, and since I drew a second Supreme Will, we're going to snap Supreme Will his Glimmer. In general, I don't like doing this, but it's something that Nassif mentioned on his last stream, that in Control Mirrors he thought he might be letting his opponents resolve glimmers too often. Um, it appears to be on Moto. The card's very, very, very good. I actually need 1 to 2 more in paper. Still a little sick from the other day, so some chance that the stream will have to get cut short, but let's hope not. We have our land drop, so I'm not going to get rid of the Censor yet. The Censor's still good as long as he has 6 mana because it can kill Gearhulks. And then we're just going to start looking for approaches. Yeah, I'm willing to counterspell this again. I like being this far ahead on lands that I'm willing to just counterspell it one more time. My counterspells aren't particularly good anyway, and they get worse as the game goes on. So basically, we just want to find an approach. Quickly as we can. We found an approach. Now, because of his Rivulet, it's going to be hard for us to draw that particular approach again, and it's still going to be hard for us to resolve an approach, but... Scarab got a Reno, friends. So we know the one card is 6 down. We don't want that, but we will take the land. So that's 3 more cards down than it is. Actually, go ahead and cycle this too, which means it's 2 more cards down. One more card down. So we draw it for our turn. I'm not going to cast a Glimmer. I'd rather be able to play Cast Out on the Torrential Gearhulk. And I'm not that worried about if he makes us mill the first approach or whatever. 1, it kills one of his lands. I'm fine with that. 2, he may not try it because we can cycle in response. Though it's pretty obvious that we can't cycle and get it in response. So they have to discard. Just go ahead and play it. I don't care if they counterspell it. Like, there's some percentage of games that they wouldn't have a counterspell at all. We're pretty close to having to stop drawing cards. This Glimmer may be the last card draw spell we play. We have a land drop, so we don't want either of the lands. So they put top top, we put bottom bottom. That feels fair. Just not going to show them the rivulets right now. I don't want them thinking about it. Sure. Gearhulk's good. It's their second Gearhulk. We'll try to save the Blessed Alliances for just as fumaroles. Easily can take a hit for 5. That's 2 Gearhulks gone. Again, we have no hard counter spells to protect these with, so just not going to try to protect them because of that. Their second Rivulet's pretty good for them. Oh, and they have Jace main deck? Yeah, we probably can't beat a Jace main deck. Our deck is very weak to counter spells. Or our deck is very weak to Planeswalkers. Certainly can't beat it with these draws. So that's probably game because they have Jace main deck. Certainly is if we keep drawing like we currently are. Yeah, well, they're on 8 counters, so hopefully they don't have another disallow. Hopefully it's just Gearhulk. No, third disallow. A lot of their versions don't even play 3 disallows, so that's pretty unfortunate. There's just no reason to cast this right now. It doesn't do anything. That does some things, but not at this moment. So they're an effective 11 cards. They have to figure out how to beat us in 11 cards. 4 Wandering Fumaroles, that's probably not going to be that hard for them. In fact, I'm not even sure why they've not attacked yet. Really would like to draw another Rivulet at some point here. Definitely kind of living on the edge this game. They could also just have another Commit to Memory. Commit to Memory would be very hard to win through as well. Fortunately, I can't make them draw. We'll discard this thing. Oops. Sorry about that. Kind of feel like this game's going to come down to who draws their last rivulet first. Censor's a great spell to get a Jace out of the way. So we're a few cards ahead of them. Just going to go ahead and cycle the Censor. Cycle this one too. Just kind of looking for a rivulet. So if they untap and have a rivulet, we're just dead. There's nothing we can do. Alright, so they're down to 11 cards now. Let's start with this. And then let's use this because it doesn't mill us. So we can grab another approach. We're really just wanting to find the rivulets, but take what we can get. There we go. That's what we wanted. Alright, so now we're going to go to their draw step, or their upkeep, and we're going to sack 3 rivulets and see what happens. So they're looking for 3 cards with this. That's fine. I don't care about anything like that. It's going to put them down to 10 cards going to 9. They'll probably have to do some kind of fight here to try to beat a Gearhulk. So you just have another disallow. Alright, well if they have another disallow, they have another disallow. Not a lot we can do about that. So they have 4 disallows in their deck. And if they drew another rivulet, they win. But they didn't draw another rivulet, so let's go ahead and use this on them now, which gives them 1 draw step. So we don't have to worry about damage. Short. So they win if we don't resolve the approach. Resolving this approach is going to be pretty hard. But they don't have another hard counter spell, so that's good. Or they don't have another disallow, rather, I should say. Well, I believe we've used all 4 of our Supreme Wills, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So they have the full 4 Gearhulks and the full 4 disallows, and they still have room for a Jace. Oh, we have no answer. That's a little disappointing. Anyway, going to the sideboard, we're going to bring in pretty much an entire conversion board. We're going to cut all the Blessed Alliances. We're going to cut some of the Fumigates. We're going to cut one approach. Yeah, it was okay. If they didn't have the Jace, I think we win pretty easily. I don't know. Maybe I could have played different and went to try to cast double approach. But didn't really have the mana for that after the Jace. I'm sideboarding in a lot more cards in this match than I used to. Kind of wonder if it's just not right, or if it's just wrong to have the cats now. I kind of feel like we can just win with Approach to the Second Sons with this many counter spells, but maybe that's just wrong. Ooh, Gideon's not very good in this match. It's like one of the matches he's worst in. I don't know what I'd cut for the other 2 cards, though. I guess the summary dismissals aren't great. This is the type of thing, by the way, that you're supposed to figure out when you're building your sideboard and not when you're moving into your sideboarding. Nah. Screw it. Still have 5 answers to both Dragon Master, Outcast, and Thing in the Ass. 5 might be enough. By the way, how you doing today, local? You playing the Friday Night Magics tomorrow? Yeah, if he hadn't added the Rivulets to his deck, he would have lost that last match pretty hard. Which is a little disappointing since our main plan to beat them is by milling them. So like this guy found a way around beating my kill condition. And he has more deserts than I do. He had Scavenging Grounds plus he had the Cycle Desert as well. Don't care if he counterspells this. If he counterspells this, we might get to tap out and play Regal. Well, he didn't counterspell it. Alright, kinda hope he just casts a Glimmer then. Red Rover, send a Glimmer on over. Not a Glimmer. Alright. Well, I'm willing to counterspell his. My counterspells aren't very good anyway. Technically have to discard a card if we play this, but not too worried about discarding a card. And I may not discard a card either. Like, I'm not really worried about him resolving anything. I may just hard jam a cat. Yeah, I'm just going to slam a cat. It's really only bad if he has the Jace in his hand. Don't care if he counterspells the Jace. This is only bad. This is only bad if he has a Jace in his hand, which he's not real likely to have. We'll probably lose if he has the Jace. Like, I realize that when I make the play. Well, we have a negate this time. And he could have another Censor or his own negate or dispel, but again, that's fine, not that worried about it. Again, I think it's only bad if he has exactly Jace, and he didn't have it last turn, so why would he have it this turn? I guess we don't have a land. Do we want this approach when we don't have a land? I think it's still fine to keep. Ah, we hit the land anyway. Nice. So getting this approach early in the game is actually real useful. Getting it later in the game's not that useful, but getting it this early is great. Getting it this early is just wonderful. So after we cycle, it'll be 6. After our draw step, it'll be 5. Getting something he kind of needs a counterspell here. He could have another negate, or he could have another Censor, or another dispel. They're all things he could have. Sure. So, 4th card down now. Yeah, just gonna jam it again. We get another try here in a few turns. Yeah, let's see if we can find a dispel. So now we know it's 3 down. So we can draw it next turn with Supreme Will, but it's probably not good enough. I don't really like our position in this game. I like it a lot better if he's attacking. Let's put it that way. Oh wow, if he attacks with them both, he's just dead. Nice. Want to play? I'm in a match right now. I kind of can't. So go ahead and get our other approach. Well, we'll just draw it then. All of our approaches were right on top of each other. Winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I felt like we got a little lucky there, but like we could have drawn our other approach anyway. We had the other cycler. Alright, so... And by the way, hello Mr. Raven. I don't think I've saw you around before. So... Sideboarding for game 3. Kinda feel like the approach game plan's still fine. I believe Dragon Master Outcasts and the Thing in the Asses are a lot better on the play than the draw for him. But in general, I don't think I'm going to change anything. Oh, you're new to Twitch. New as in new to viewer, or do you stream? Ah, fair enough, fair enough. Well, if you like watching on YouTube, I post all of my streams on YouTube. There's a link down below to my YouTube channel if you care at all. So like all of my live streams are posted there. I kind of want the fourth approach back in for post board. I think the summary dismissals are a little bit too mana intensive. YouTube's great. YouTube is the best. I'm a big fan of the YouTubes. Summary dismissals probably aren't good enough to be in the board in this match. Like, I probably shouldn't have sideboarded either of them in, but I don't really want any of these other cards. I don't know. We'll take one Blessed Alliance because maybe. I just don't want the dismissals. I got Aaron to post the updated page free schedule, so there should be some pre-release stuff on there if you feel like going and reading it. We have enough cyclers that I think I'll keep this hand. This hand is a smidge weak, though. What am I more likely to cycle? I'm more likely to cycle to draw 2. I'm actually behind in clock to somebody. That's not something that happens very often. Like, I'm typically not the person that's behind in the clock. Saving the cast out as opposed to the draw 2 just in case he does have Thing in the Ass. Yeah. Right on time, Essence Gathering Sensors that I couldn't cast before anyway. Definitely lets him attack from a new angle. Wonder if I can summary dismissal after the counter. Probably doesn't work like I want it to. I guess he could have a dispel? No dispel. Well, that was actually great for us then. Because now we get to get the cast out on the thing in the ice. And even if he has a Jace, we get to untap and cast out the Jace as well. Alright, so we survived 2 threats. Gotta draw some lands though. Apparently he has to draw some lands as well. Well, hopefully he doesn't hit a... Alright, well, I guess we'll save ours then. Just looking for lands. Wow, he's going to Torrential Gearhulk that? Kinda feel like I need to land enough that I'm willing to use the negate here. Oh, he's getting his Glimmer. He didn't have a counterspell in his graveyard anyway. That's fun. We'll snap counterspell that. Yeah, well, we just want to land. I'm gonna feel extremely punished if we just draw a land. Alright, did not just draw a land, so... This game feels fairly even right now. Negates and lands are what we want more than anything. Neither of those were a negate or a land. See if we can get our own dispel. We did not. We got a negate though, which is pretty useful. Might help us resolve this second Glimmer. Opponent's down to 4 cards in his hand. If he's using his counterspells, that's fine. We need less cards to win than he does, so... The fact that he still has a Censor in his hand there is kind of mind-blowing. Yep. It takes a long time for this to kill us, and it's a large mana commitment. Well, they negated the first one. I guess their plan's just to win in 4 turns with that then. Not sure if I like that plan. Okay, they had to hit a counterspell or they would have attacked, I believe. Alright, well, Glimmer into Glimmer probably seals the game for them. Those cards are just that good in this spot. They have to use 2 negates and 1 dispel, but they've used 0 disallows, so. They're not attacking anymore either, which means they certainly have spells that they want to cast. They probably hit a Gear Hulk. Hopefully they don't have a counterspell to protect it with. If they're even casting the Gear Hulk, that means they have another hard counterspell, though, so. That's kind of bad. Yep, told you. Guaranteed to have another hard counterspell if they're even casting the Gear Hulk. It's not a hard read. Yeah, they just hit the Glimmers at the right spots. They could always draw poorly. We have a 2-turn clock. We could just like top deck approach and them not have a counterspell, but the odds of that are extremely unlikely. Just got buried pretty hard this game. Sucks to lose the 42-minute matches. Yeah, maybe they don't have it. Either way, I'm typing GG. If we win, I won't press enter. Alright, well, never mind. He had it. Like how opponent like complains in chat that I top deck, yet he still just has the counter spell and it doesn't matter. That's a bit on the rude side, but it's not the end of the world. It's definitely BM as hell, but not that concerned about it. Go ahead and play our next round. And I'll play first. This hand's keepable, but it's not great. The double approaches make it keepable though. Red deck wins, maybe. The double approach allows you to keep slightly weaker hands. Not red deck wins. Something with red and white. We'll certainly counterspell anything they play that we can counterspell. And the planes is a great pickup. So it looks like they're playing the red-white vehicle deck that we played yesterday. Deck's pretty good, pretty fun. It's got a bunch of walkers in it. This deck is weak to walkers, so that's not the greatest, but as long as they don't have a walker this turn, and as long as it's not Gideon this turn, we're probably fine. If it's Gideon this turn, we're hurting. I don't know if we have enough time to win if it's Gideon. It'll depend on what his follow-ups are post-Gideon. We can beat Chandra. All we have to do is hit lands. I mean, obviously we don't beat it if we don't draw our lands, but... Go ahead and pop this off this turn. We can Supreme Will for a land next turn if we need to. We could also hit Cast Out. Sup Blade Ogre. Sup Matt. So we can now beat a Gideon. He should definitely tick that up first because he may have hit another Gideon or something. Land? Alright, that's a land. That's probably all we need. It's kind of interesting. We'll have to do math. So if him being able to ulti that this turn, or next turn, it's kind of a lot of damage. One spell would be 8. Oh wow. Never mind. Things just got a lot easier. So one spell would be 8. We stay at 15. He's got 5, 8, 10. Needs 3 spells from his hand? Alright. If he's got 3 spells from his hand, he could definitely win. Because, like, he's going to make another one of these, so that's 10 damage with just those. So Chandra ulti and 3 spells would do it. We have to hit untap land first, too. Like, okay, we hit untap land. Alright, so just trying to fade 3 spells then. This deck's weak to Planeswalkers though, and his deck is a deck that's got 4 Gideons, 3 Chandras, and 1 Nahiri, so even if we get game 1, I don't think we're real favored to get game 2 and 3. Yeah, just don't have 3 of them. Be nice if we played the spells pre-combat. That way we could scoop and not have to go through this. Cutting to Ether Meltdowns hurts a lot versus him as well. Yeah, so they're using 2 mana for 1 spell. So, just have to dodge 2 spells. Alright, we got it. He only had 2 spells. So we go down to 2, we untap and use our approach. Skated narrowly by a Chandra ultimate. AFF. I don't know what all that stands for. Alright, anyway. I believe that these are good in this match, and I believe that these are good in this match. Cards that I think are bad. I generally take out all my Blessed Alliances versus every Thraben Inspector deck. But the fact that he's also playing Toolcraft Exemplar may make that poor. Generally take out these versus those decks as well. I don't think I want Essence Scatter either. The Blessed Alliances may be good enough to keep, though, just for the simple fact that he's a vehicle deck, which is a little awkward if I want to keep these or not. The Gideons are worse versus vehicles, I guess. Gideons aren't very good versus vehicles at all. Oh wow, I don't want these in the deck at all. That was a little whoopsie. Yeah, if one card comes back in, it's either Supreme Will, Gideon, or Approach. I guess Gideon does do some things. It doesn't do enough things, does it? Accidentally drugged the two Descends down. I was confused. I was like, man, I have too many cards to take out. I don't understand. This hand's fine. If they lead Toolcraft, they lead Toolcraft into Heart of Carrion, like this hand's not gonna win, but like it's still a fine hand. I'll just go ahead and cycle this. Get that F6 value going. Alright, nice. So they didn't have the 1-2 punch. Which gives us a lot of time now. We're not cycling the other casts out because, again, like I said, they're a million Planeswalker dot deck. By the way, thank you for following, Judd Spud. Appreciate it, man. Alright, so we have a negate for a Planeswalker, or we have a Stasis Snare post-combat for the Veteran Motorist. Heart of Kirin. Going ahead and counterspelling it prevents the most damage, I think. Actually, letting it resolve and just Stasis Snaring this prevents the most damage, right? So if I counterspelled, I take 4. If I use a Stasis Snare, I take 3. Eh. I don't mind to take the 4. Or I don't mind to take the 4. I'd rather save the Stasis Snare for maybe a potential Gideon. Besides, our Regal Caracol clears up the board well. Like, they don't really attack through the Caracol. And they are an Avacyn deck, so. Alright, well that'll resolve. So take a pretty good chunk here. We're going to take 6. 6 down to 8. Going to need to draw something. Another Chandra. They can't attack though. There's an approach. So that one's kind of nice. And we get to kill the Chandra, so that's kind of nice as well. Oh wow, he didn't take the time to kill one of my cats. That means this youngin' has a plan. Wonder if his plan is just all the Avacens in the world, or is it another like Gideon or something? Looks like it's another Gideon or something. Well, that's fine. Fumigate for next turn if we want it. So we go to 16. We have 2 different blockers for the 5 power. Oh wow. Well, that was pretty good for us. So if we block here and we block here, we essentially gain more life than we get from the Fumigate. So we know the approach is now 6 cards down. Now we know it's 2 cards down. So we have 20 life and we need to survive 2 turns. Or we could just draw it. Go grab my phone for a moment. It's a pretty big hit. This is an attack for an 11. So short of a shock, this should be enough. Both of these games were rather close. Thank you for resubscribing, by the way, Anthony. I don't know if you're actually watching. I noticed you resubscribed when I was offline. Alright, well, we don't even need to use this, but just kind of want to know what the card was, so. Alright, well, we approach some suns again. And now we're 1-1. Nice deck, LOL. Wonder if he hadn't did the math and thinks we just drew that one and it wasn't the same one. Anyway, if you like what you're seeing here at Twitch, please give us a follow and look at the links down below. If you click on the Twitter and follow it, you can see every time I go live my opinion on random things and all the deck lists we play. And you should follow my YouTube as well. The link is also down below. On the YouTube, you'll find all of the streams and some other types of content as well. And if you're watching from the YouTube, remember, hit that little follow button and a link to my Twitter, my Twitch, and every deck list we play are in the descriptions below the videos. Poor opponent. He was a little salty. Thank you for following, Sainted Placeboy. I appreciated it. Yeah, let's move on to the next round. Hey, we won the dice roll again. I appreciate it, man. I really, really enjoy it. I do plan on being at Friday Night Magic, yes. Alright, well this hand's a little slow and we don't have blue mana. Those two things combined makes me ship it. If any one of those lands were blue, I would have kept. Hopefully I'll get better and better at this. Like, this is still just like the second month in. I'm not very good at it, but trying to get better. We need lands more than we need that, so go ahead and ship that to the bottom. Uh-oh. So Marduk's kind of a rough match as well. And we have a mediocre draw. Guess Heart of Kiran's the best thing he could have here. If he just plays a Thraben Inspector, we're pretty sad. We just really want to be able to censor whatever this is. Oh, he's playing the improvised deck. That's kind of cool and interesting. I don't know the deck list well enough to know whether I should be casting or whether I should be cycling censor or whether I should be saving it for a turn. I think I'm just going to cycle it. Let's see if we can hit an untap land. But I don't know their deck list well enough to know if that was right. Like, I don't know what they have on 3 mana that is super relevant. That depends on who you ask. I personally think it's tier 1. It's at least tier 2. Like, in a vacuum, Red Deck wins and Temur Energy may be the only actual tier 1 decks, but all of the tier 2 decks in this format can compete. Like, the only thing that I get really not really upset, I don't get upset about anything. I guess that's not true. I don't like it when people trash talk, and I don't like getting mana screwed. But anyway, the only thing that like I really don't want to see on the other side of the table is when my opponent leads with basic mountain. That's about the only time that I feel like I'm in deep trouble. Obviously, in a game like this where I just don't draw lands, I obviously feel in trouble as well. But it's at least tier 2. It could be tier 1, but it's at least tier 2, and it is a niche thing for me as well. The particular build we're playing today doesn't have any of our cards for mono red, so like we just know if we get paired versus mono red that we are SOL, friends. Expertise is a good one. Ooh, into a servo? That's pretty nice. So this little Gideon's going to bite the dust, but at least he's going to prevent some damage on his way out. Alright, so we have to look for a land this time. We can't afford to miss the second land drop. I saw somebody streaming this deck the other night, but I don't, for the life of me, I can't remember who it was. It looked pretty neat. No, all the tier 2 decks have chances in this format. Like, the black-blue deck top 8 at tons of nationals last weekend. They even won a Grand Prix. Won Grand Prix Touring like 2 weeks ago or whatever. Mardu Vehicles, another tier 2 deck, won Grand Prix Washington, D.C. A green-white ramp deck got second in Washington, D.C. Like, all of these like tier 2 to tier 1.5 decks, they can compete in this format. There's probably like 12 decks right now, give or take. I've not done the math, that's just spouting out a number. But there's probably like 12 decks right now that you can play and not feel embarrassed. Like, feel like you have a reasonable chance to win. Yeah, the copycat / Mardu format was you play one of those 2 decks or you don't win. Which obviously wasn't great. So we're in a spot now to where we really need to draw the untapped land. If we draw the untapped land, we easily win. If we don't draw the untapped land, we probably don't. It's kind of weird that he like hard pushed the Herald of Anguish out there now too, because like the Gideon survives an extra turn. I don't know if I'm a fan of him letting our Gideon survive, but like I said, I'm not super familiar with his deck, so like he could have some kind of plan that I'm not aware of. Could just be going to my dome too. Yeah, he's just going to my dome. He doesn't care about the Gideon. The Gideon's already prevented 6 damage though. Alright, so what card do we need the least here? Probably need the Glimmer the least. Maybe it's the Blessed Alliance. Yeah, I think it's the Blessed Alliance. Well, that's not fun. Guess we can start with cycling this, see if we hit the land this way. If we do, we can save the counter spell for something that would kill us. So that's 10 damage next turn. Right? Yeah, it's 10 damage, so we're not dead. We can also use the cast out if we wanted to. Oh, well, we're dead as crap. Oh well, we would have won this game had we hit our land. We did not hit our land, so we are just dead. Alright, on to the next game. Missing 2 land steps, though. Oh well. So, versus a deck like that, I believe I want all of this sideboardy, like, creature hate. I believe we want to get rid of most of our Illuminations and most of our Supreme Wills. Might even be worth it to keep 1 Descend. Just to have kind of like a 5th Wrath of God if they're trying to go super wide. Emblem, Gideon, cast out. That's fair. The problem is that the problem with that line is if we don't draw the land, we still just lose, right? Like we didn't know. We didn't know when we cycled the first. No, you're right. I definitely think I messed up. I did not play that game well. Okay, I'm gonna bring in both Descends. I don't want the Essence Scatter either. I just don't think I want the Essence Scatter or the second Supreme Will. Oh, no lands again. This hand's not very good, but I'm going to keep it. I'm actually going to keep a Fumigate as well, even though we may never get to cast it. Yeah, that's probably a pretty bad punt by me. I didn't even think about that line. Huh. Now I'm a little salty at myself. I see no flaw with making that play. Don't know if I would have ever noticed that either. Like, I play worse on stream, but I don't think that's something I would have noticed off stream. Pretty sure that you're just better than me. Servos. Little Gideon's been very good. I'm surprised how good this card's been in this deck. I'm also surprised that I just want to land. 1 land and I feel pretty confident about this game. Guess what that's not? That was not a land. He's certainly great when you don't care about mono red anymore. So that's another Dunes to worry about. It's kind of weird. My computer started thinking for some reason. Me or Gideon? Me. Interesting. Guess I'll just take it since it's me. What are you, another fabricate duty? Another fabricate doodly. So I'm I'm kind of dead on board. Is that right? Huh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I didn't notice since lots of people still play it at my local game store. There's less mono red on at least the MTGO friendly leagues, but I believe it's still a fairly big player in the format. So he has to send at least 5 damage to kill this. Alright. Yeah, but then if we don't hit the land, we're still just dead on the following turn, right? So I want to make the play that lets me at least cast Fumigate on the next turn. I think I have to give up Little Chad for this, but this is the play that I should have made last game, and I think it's that I'm gonna pronounce your name wrong, but Tyrone noticed, so like it's probably the same play this game. What in the world are you? Oh well, we're just beyond dead then. We lost both games because we missed land drop 5. It happens. Yeah, the Blessed Alliance wouldn't have done anything either. We just missed land drop 5 both games. That happens. I think it's a pretty easy win if we hit land drop 5 though. That's one of my least favorite ways to lose in Magic. When you think you have a pretty positive matchup and you just don't get to play Magic really. But it happens. It's not the end of the world. It's just a servo deck. I don't know if there's a name for it. It's just a tribal servo deck. Blessed Alliance would have gotten me an extra turn if I also used the Gideon in the same manner, but the top of our deck was farmland. So like we would have lost even with the extra turn. Yeah, I saw it on stream the other day. Like I said, it looked pretty neat when I saw it on stream, but I still feel like a pretty strong favorite versus it. Like we have 8/5 drops that kind of cripple it. That I can't tell you. Like I'm not familiar enough with the list to know that. Anyway, we lost. That's fine. This hand's fine. It's another one of these hands that just isn't particularly good, but it's also not a mulligan. You generally want at least one of your 9/2 drop spells in every hand. So when you brick on all 9 of them, your hands look kind of weak. So mono black zombies. Yeah, again, a favorable match, but our hand's pretty weak. Have to see what he plays for his turn 2 drop to see what we do. Oh wow, he's attacking. He's attacking, that means he's probably got Relentless Dead in his hand. Alright. I'm not going to cycle the cast out then. Just get little Chad back on the table. That's just a diagraph too. Well, this time he didn't even attack for one. Because he wants to draw a card. I'm going to get rid of the dire. More concerned about him going super wide than I am him getting this back from Fumigate later. I honestly don't care how many cards he draws game 1. That game 1's really about kind of stopping the lords and just getting to my mana. Thank you for following Orzi355. Our opponent's DC'd, so I apologize right now. But that's a perfect time to plug myself and advertise, friends. I guess we'll pop up the deck list while we're waiting on him to come back. But anyway, if you like what you're seeing here on Twitch, always remember you can type !deck list at any point to see the deck list. And if you look at the links down below, you see a link to my Twitter. On my Twitter, you'll see every time I go live, all the deck lists I play and my random musings on stuff. So go give it a follow if you feel like it. And if you really like me, the thing I care about the most is give us a follow on the YouTube as well. Again, a link down below. On the YouTube, you'll find some non-streamed content, but you'll find all of the streams at least at the very minimum there. If you're watching from the YouTube, remember, like and follow the videos if you do like them. Dislike the videos if you dislike it. I don't care, but like make some like notation. And below each video is a link to my Twitch, my Twitter, and the deck list. So the zombies match is the reason I still have the Sin from the symbols in my sideboard. I get paired versus zombies enough that I like having that little extra bit of a cushion. Let's stay here. Hopefully our opponent will be back soon. Like he played a land and he tapped 3 lands, so like it's not a rage quit or anything. Not that it would be a rage quit. Why would it be a rage quit? It's the one bad thing about streaming Magic Online is like connection issues are real and we do have to wait on people. Which makes it a little bit of a boring viewing process. Makes it a boring streaming process too when we have to wait. Hey, got a YouTube subscriber. Thank you, YouTube people. Okay, opponent's back. So let's pop back over here. So he played 1 Dark Salvation. Hello, Handy. What are you guys into? Somewhere over the rainbow, our opponent's going to be able to kill this little Chad. Yeah, I noticed on my friends list it shows you playing WoW earlier. Do you play a lot of WoW? Alright, well we have to kill the zombie lord. Like I said, the zombie lord is one of the things we're most worried about right now. I would love to do some sleeping at the moment. Also really like to draw just an untapped land. Nice. I miss WoW. I recently started playing League of Legends again last week. I needed my gaming fix. As of right now, they're doing a kind of a weird structure for the pre-release weekend, but hopefully, like I said, I prefer this structure, but I know that it's bad for a lot of other people, so like I just wanted to bring it to people's attention. Maybe they can try to get it fixed. Because if we get like 18 people there and we have a top 8, like it could be 1:30, maybe 2 a.m. even before the pre-release starts. So we're going to need to draw a fumigate at some point. Now, if this is a lord, again, I think we have to counterspell a lord. I don't really want to, but I feel like we have to. And there's no guarantee they'd even hold the pre-release, right? Like maybe they wouldn't hold the pre-release, and we would just have to. Maybe the people still in the top 4 wouldn't get to play the pre-release or something. Kind of feel like it's actually worth using the Blessed Alliance here, just to prevent more damage to the Gideon. Yeah, it seems like it saves it for another turn if we do it this way. Obviously, they could have another Lord, and if they have another Lord, they have it anyway. This game's not going great. I missed the old pre-releases where they actually had a top 8 and stuff. Um, hmm. Well, we definitely want to land. I guess we don't want to cast out. Used to, we had a top 8 and stuff at our pre-releases, and they didn't end until like 5:30 in the morning. We'd go eat at Shoney's breakfast in the morning. Well, he discarded a little, or he just drew a card. Never mind. Ignore me. So it's another Liliana's Mastery. That's really bad for me. Oh no, it's not a Liliana's Mastery at all. It's that thing. How bad do I want little Chad to stay alive? Well, that made that decision a lot easier, didn't it? Sure. I'm not going to discard the Censor yet because like it could stop a Liliana's Mastery or whatever. Or maybe the Relentless Dead from coming back down. Oh wow. He got rid of the Relentless Dead instead of the Crypt Breaker. Kind of interesting to see what's in his hand then. Thank you for following Pablo Sadik 24. Not discarding the Censor here because it can help us redraw to the approach quicker. Yeah, I mean, I'm awake those hours of the night anyway, so the time that it starts isn't really, or time that it ends isn't really an issue to me. I just know it matters to a lot of people, especially people with jobs and stuff that like might have to go to work the next day. All right, so we're 7 cards down, and we have 33 life, and they have to kill a Gideon. I like our odds, but like our odds this game. It got quiet in here this game. That guy went AFK and it like killed the stream. All right, he's done. Come on, Moto. Thank you, Moto. Anyway, versus zombies, I like all 8 of these cards. Cards that I generally take out some of the slower counter spells and like an approach. It's typically the plan I use. I'm a little weaker than I used to be versus them because I took out my 2-mana interactive spells. So if they have enough discard spells to pull our 5 and our 6 drops out of our hand, it can be a hard match, but it's not the end of the world. I still feel like I'm a pretty strong favorite. I used to feel like I won 75 to 80%, and now I feel like I win closer to like 70, maybe 73. Uh, I've not kept very good spreadsheets during this last streaming month because I've only had one monitor and I didn't want to keep pulling up the spreadsheet on the monitor, but I'm going to try to keep a better track of the decks we play and records, hopefully from Ixalan going forward. Alright, so this hand is interesting. I think it's a mulligan. We have our best card and our second best card, but if they just have their fast draw, we don't even get the 5 mana, so I believe it's a mulligan. Alright, well this hand's very similar. I'm not going to mulligan again. The Scry's the main reason I'm keeping this hand. Probably wouldn't have kept it without the Scry. We have blue mana this time too, so like it's a little bit better of a hand. The second Fumigate's better than the first Descend as well. Alright, so he's got kind of a slow draw. That's fine. Lost Legacy's fine. It's one of the reasons we brought in the 4 cats and the 2 Linvalas. Like, we can beat a Lost Legacy. And we sideboarded out one approach because of the Lost Legacies as well. Like, it's still fine to cast a first approach and just gain 7 life because that's generally a 1 to 2 turn extra that you get, but the fact that he took the Fumigate's kind of interesting. I would have taken the Glimmer there in most cases, I think. So it like gives us some insight onto what may be in his hand. He may have another discard spell just wanting to like curve into some Liliana Masteries. Sure. Could hit one of our sensors now. That would be pretty good for him. Just sitting here clicking his planes, waiting for my turn to cycle. I don't think I want to cycle the second cast out. He knows the cataract's in our hand, so we'll play it over the island. Sure. So he knows we have this fumigate, so he has some kind of follow-up that he thinks is good enough post-fumigate. We're just going to keep both of these. We have our land drop for the next turn anyway, and both of those are pretty powerful cards. Back to 18, so he's got 3 cards in hand and a 1 card from our, from the Gigante. From the Gigante. It's just another diagraph. This one's a 4/4. That's fine. Slam a cat. It gives us chump blockers, and it lets us can just win trades right now if we wanted. Like, we can outrace what we see. And we still have a pretty good hand. Can still outrace what we see. Yeah. Now we can't outrace what we see anymore. Now we just start chump blocking to gain life. And by chump blocking, I mean I would have double blocked there, but it is what it is. So the cast out gives us a lot more blocking opportunities than normal. Yeah, so Liliana's Mastery changes things as well. See what kind of attack he makes before we do any decisions. Alright, so we could block him here, him here, him here, and Blessed Alliance, or cast out that, and he loses his entire board, and we would lose 1 life. Problem is, I also kind of want to use Blessed Alliance this turn. Seems like a good turn for Blessed Alliance, and he's just going to sack a zombie if we Blessed Alliance. That's fair. The Relentless does have Menace. Good point. Well, can block the cat and like double block the diagraph. The diagraph would die. The Lord would die? Could just cast Glimmer and look for a Descend. That doesn't seem that terrible. We have 4 hits, and that'd be 4 cards to find a hit in. But that seems like trying to get lucky. When I feel like we can handle the board. Feel like we can handle the board, right? So why try to get lucky? The Relentless Dead will be annoying on later streets, but I think I like this play the best. Our cat survives this as well. Like this cat survives it. I wonder if it's worth it to keep this other cat around or if I should just prevent 5 damage. Keeping the other cat around seems okay. Seems better than just throwing it under the bus. You can always block on a later turn, right? Well, he does have the dread thingy. Yeah, he has the dread thingy, so I guess I'll just go ahead and block. Yeah, we would have missed anyway. Yeah, double blocking the Relentless could have worked as well. I would have saved the cat. If he has another Liliana's Mastery, we're in bad shape. Oh, not another Liliana's Mastery. That's fine then. Hey, we have the biggest creature on the board again. And plenty of life. We also have Delirium in case we get to Descend. We have enough mana to Glimmer and Cat in the same turn. Thank you for following Smokescreen6969. This Essence Scatters looked really bad this game. Oh wow. He got Air Cast out. Well, that's pretty good then. So we can kill a zombie if he attacks? Or we just take 6? Oh wow, he had to cast out to get his Liliana's Mastery back. I'm not sure that I wouldn't have done that last turn. That seems better than... That seems a lot better than just making my cat a 1-1, right? Yeah, that has to be a lot better than just making my cat a 1-1. Or I guess he could have been saving it for a spot like that, but... Alright, well I guess we'll get the cat. Kind of think it's safe to attack him. I'm not going to, but I think it's safe to attack now. Transgress, whiffs. The Lord's a good one. Doesn't really have a great attack. Like, this attack doesn't seem particularly good. I'm just going to block and double block. So I'm going to remove 2 of his frets and gain 4 life back to 16. Probably just going to cast Bladed Fin this turn. He can buy that back no matter what, so doesn't really seem like there's a reason to. By the way, he's down to 5 minutes and there's a third game. Record's about 68% over the course of a couple hundred matches. It's got a lot better. It was pretty high until Ramp become a lot more popular. But the more and more popular Ramp has become, the worse and worse my percentages have been. I think I'm fine just double blocking here. Well, let's start with this. See if we even want to waste an Essence Scatter. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guess we want to use an Essence Scatter. We're still alive next turn. There's little Chad. Little Chad's always a hero. Little Chad, you are our favoritist hero. We have a cast out to get our Linvala back, which is going to be pretty sweet. This is one of our better matches. So he's going to attack for an 11. He should attack with this too. He knows that we have the Blessed Alliance. He saw it. Alright, so they're all at me. Hey, Kaga. It's been a while since I've seen you, man. Welcome back. So go back to 17 to get 2 blockers. Alright, he's done. That was enough for him. He was under 4 minutes, and he had to win an entire extra game, though. So, I guess that's a reasonable concession. Thank you for following, Thanosaur. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it a lot. I wonder what our draw steps would have been like. Yeah, he was definitely going to win this game, I think. Nice. Alright, well anyway, so we're playing the last round for a pity chest. Again, if you like what you see, guys, make sure to follow the Twitch stream. And if you really like what you see, go follow the YouTube as well. If you're watching from the YouTube, keep in mind that every stream is posted there. And some additional non-stream content is also posted there. And I may be posting some Path of Exile videos soon. I'm still trying to figure out the YouTube algorithms and stuff if like posting smaller videos hurts. Again, and if you're watching from the YouTube though, in every description there's a link to my Twitch, my Twitter, and the deck list. Also, if you follow the Twitter, you can see all the deck lists we played every time we go live, and my random thoughts and musings on stuff. And always remember, if you're in the actual chat, you can type !decklist and see the deck lists. Nice, man. I appreciate it. I love the YouTube. The YouTube makes me smile. I need to get better at it, and I only have two. I only have 2 on my upload speed, so it's making my YouTube videos murder to upload. But I really want to get better at YouTube. I need to learn to do graphics. I've been trying to use Hit Pro Express, and my computer doesn't like that either, even though my computer's a pretty decent computer. Alright, this hand's a keeper. We have a turn 2 interactive spell. We have a Wrath of God. We have one of these. It's a pretty good hand versus everything but Basic Mountain. I feel like every time I say that, I'm channeling them to play Basic Mountain, play Basic Mountain, opponent, you know you want to. Zombies again? Not zombies. It's that deck. So we got kind of a brewish thingy for the last round. That deck's actually been kind of difficult to beat. Looks like he's only got 1 color of land so far, though. We have the cast out for that card, which is pretty nice. If he's playing the mono black, I think we'll be fine. If he's playing the blue black with a bunch of counter spells, it's much, much harder. Alright, 4 basic swamps in a row. He's either got a very poor draw or he's the mono black. Our opponent's record was 1-1. We're certainly just going to kill that thing. Especially if our mana being's slightly awkward. I'm going to jump right on cast outing that other spell too. Thank you for following Omner Ciomilm and Zeom UCC. I appreciate it. Got quite a few followers today. Lurching Rotbeast. Alright, this guy is not the deck that I thought he was. And we have 3 Glimmers. Oh, he's got another one of those, though. That card is pretty good versus me. I have to go hunting for another cast out. Probably not keeping anything but cast outs and approaches. That's what I thought he was, except I assumed he had the blue cards. But it's looking like he doesn't have the blue cards, though, now that he's up to 5 basic swamps. It's got a lot of things for us to use cast outs on, though. We don't have our 40s in our sideboard anymore either, so kind of hurts. Oh wow, he doesn't have a play on 6. Again, just keeping cast outs and approaches. Maybe would keep another draw 2 or something, but We found our 4th Glimmer. So he's got up to 7 mana. He didn't have a play on 7 mana either. Wow. We'll keep the approach. Go ahead and cast the other one of these as well. We don't need it to get our approach back in the 1 turn clock, and there's some percentage chance that we just draw a second approach and not have to mess with it. So we know that approach is 7 cards down. Cycle. Should be game, but who knows? They could have Lost Legacy main deck or something. No Lost Legacy. Alright. Not even gonna bother to use this sensor. Not gonna like slow road a guy or whatever. Just gonna cast it. I'm gonna read this card. So whenever you cycle, one of my dudes get tiny, right? This is actually pretty good versus my alternate win condition. So like Lost Legacy is a lot better versus me in that regard then. Guess we definitely want to bring these in. Kinda want to bring these in anyway. Like, I'm kind of fearful about those being super relevant. Not a big fan of that card either. And 1 Fumigate's probably enough. The second Sun has to resolve. The first one just has to be cast. So like to make the second one work, you just have to cast the first one. The first one can resolve, it can get counterspelled, it doesn't matter. The second one has to actually resolve. So we drew double cast out, which is pretty nice. It's one of the cards I want most in this match. We have a Glimmer in our hand, so we'll probably cycle to Illumination. Just try to make sure we hit our land drops. That's not a land drop. No problem, man. And thanks, Hornbill, for stopping by. Don't think I've ever saw you in around here before. Got a lot of our regulars in here tonight. And we got some new people. It's a pretty good stream. It says we're up to 27 people. Which kind of makes me not want to log off, but unfortunately it's almost 7 p.m. and I still have to go get my outdoors exercising in for today. Alright, well we'll start with the cycling of the hieroglyph again. Alright, well we didn't miss the land drop, therefore I'm going to go ahead and play the plains to keep up the Supreme Wills. Unlikely. I don't like fragmenting the streams like that. Take our damage. It's kind of a close match, I think. I think it's close from each side. The The thank you for following Zephy Z06. The Mardu players got to I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. Like, he just has to basically be mindful of his planeswalkers or his fault not seers. Like, casting those all at the right times, pretty much what it comes down to. The build I'm playing doesn't have Immolating Glares and or Effort Meltdowns in it, so like I'm a little weaker than them than the other builds. Thank you for following as well, Zephy. Oh, I just said that. Never mind. I take it back, Zephy. Screw you. You don't get two thank yous in this stream. I'm just messing with you. I'm too stupid to talk. Red Rover, we want to draw tons and tons of lands. I think it's safe to cycle the center now. You know, I didn't actually know this little guy had cycling on him. Well, that's news to me. I have learned today. I guess it's not safe to cycle the sensor. I was wrong. Not safe to cycle at all. That's not a land. Our kingdom for lands? It's 5 points of damage. Like, I'm not in the mood to take it. Doompa. Alright, you got me. I don't have, we don't have all the information yet for post-rotation, but I'm one of these uninventive people, and like, I think Teamer just gets so much better. Like, there's no real cards that I want to put into Teamer, but the cards that are rotating out, I think improves Teamer. Right? Like this deck gets considerably weaker because it doesn't have Blessed Alliance. So unless they, thank you for the auto host, EMTGO Tavern. So unless they spoil some like nice 2-mana spell, like this is going to be a problem. And this is Teamer's worst match, I would say. The Eldrazi are going to be going to, which is another thing that makes Teamer a little bit better. Yeah, I'd say over the weekend we'll start streaming a little more with Teamer Energy here. Well, that's a good one. He does only have one card in his hand, though. Alright, we'll just keep both of these. As I cast out to answer that already. Have a Linvala to gain us 5 life. Drawing the third cast out's kind of nice. I think Mono Red gets a lot better than people think too. A lot of people talk about like Lightning Strike being a side grade to Incendiary Flow, and that like not every build even ran all of the Incendiary Flows to begin with. But like I think it is a hardcore upgrade. I don't think it's just a side grade. Thank you for following Ice Caldebra. Yeah, that sounds right. Or right enough. Let's go ahead and cast out now. Less worried about the less worried about the Archfiend than we are the other. We We still have stasis snares and little Gideons that can be used on that guy. Hey, Ridon, thanks for stopping by today. I think it's the first I saw you. I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to get better at this. Like, I'm still kind of like newish to streaming. Man, I think having the instant speed is going to be a lot bigger upgrade than a lot of people give it credit for. But what do I know? Alright. Well, I don't want to take the 5 damage. I'm going to just play this and hope that we can block. If he's got multiple cycling spells, he blows us out, but like it still time walks a turn. And if it gets to block it, time walks 2 turns. Alright, well it still time walks 1 turn because we gain 5 life. Which is good enough. Next turn we have enough mana to like Supreme Will, if we draw a land to like Supreme Will and Fumigate or something. It's kind of interesting. I would have probably just hardcast that in this spot. Like 4 power's a lot. That would have put me dead on board next turn if I didn't find an answer. Alright, well. Let's start with this. Certainly don't want either of you. Don't think we want that cat either. Well, folks. Oh, man. Yeah, that is true. We do lose the Grasp of Darkness, which makes Hazoret even stronger. Alright, well, we're skating on thin ice this game. We do get to look at 4 cards with the Supreme Will, hopefully, though. Alright. Hey, Steve Spam. Thank you for following Dredson Demi Doll. How you doing today, Steve? Well, there is an answer to the immediate problem. An answer to the immediate problem's better than not having an answer to it at all. So we still have an Essence Scatter and a Glimmer. Yeah, Blessed Alliance rotating is what scares me the most about our baby here. We're currently 2-2 in this league and up a game. We got paired versus a servo deck that we missed our land 5-drop both games and we just got kind of smashed. And then we got paired versus... What did we lose to round 1? Oh, we lost to a pretty interactive game versus Red-Blue round 1. I'm not sure how well I played it. I may have punted that match off. But we can't feel bad about losing to the match that we didn't draw a 5th mana. Like, we missed at least 2 land drops both of those games. Oh, well, that's a strong card here. That is a strong card here, fam. Looks like we're looking for another, probably looking for another cast out at some point. Yeah, well, I think we're going to let him have that one. And we're going to try to Essence Scatter the creature that can kill this. But we definitely don't want either of those. I don't know who BDC is, but that's what it looked like. Oh, Brian DeCandio. That's probably who BTD is. Yeah, I'd say it's that deck. I said earlier in chat that I saw somebody streaming it and I couldn't remember who it was. Could not remember who it was. Yeah, it's certainly a powerful spell here. That's for sure. But this gives us a bunch of chump blockers for it. Brennan. I don't know why I said Brian. It's Brennan. Yeah, we're definitely not in good shape this game. We can still draw like approach into approach though and be perfectly fine. I think it's going to be pretty hard for it to be good unless there's a 2 mana spell. Unless there's something that's like Blessed Alliance, Immolating Glare, or Effort Meltdown to be the only thing we have left. Like, I suppose that, yeah, well, there's still a lot of cards left to spoil. I suppose that Effort Meltdown is a replacement for it, and, like, it's feasible, but, like, certainly not great. The 4 mana instant that lets them go get a land might be playable as well. The legendary enchantment that flips into a land I actually think is going to be rather good. I think that card's going to be rather good. Sure. That's fine. I just planned on blocking with it anyway because you have this thing. Going to snap double block if given the opportunity. Yeah, that card seems good to me. Being able to ramp with this deck is just good in general. Like, I've toyed with a couple of green builds of it. Rivulet's a good draw. I think like our opponent's not been aggressive enough. So we know our dude's 7 cards down. That's pretty good for him, and we can't do anything about it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he should have just played the 4/4 on that one turn. He could have been playing around Fumigate or something, but I think I would have just played the 4/4. Alright, so now we know it's 3 cards down. Hey, we hit another approach. And now we know it's 2 cards down. When we get to our draw step anyway. Not going to cast the Linvala here because we can just use the Blighted Cataract to make sure we draw the approach next turn. And I don't think he's going to deal 13 damage to us in one turn. And if for somehow he casts like a Lost Legacy or whatever, we can just play the Linvala next turn. Sure. Alright. I wonder how much Duress, Spell Pierce, and Opt are going to affect the formats. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. Okay, sure. Doesn't do anything in this spot. And he's tapped out. No longer tapped out, but he's only got one card in hand, so. Unless that one card makes us shuffle our deck and discard a card from our hand, we're not worried. It's kind of cool. He cycled a whole bunch of stuff and got to play a hollowed one from his graveyard for 1 mana. So we draw our second approach. His deck's actually, like, pretty reasonable. I do think it should have the blue cards in it. Alright, well, we snagged a pity chest today. We fought versus a pretty decent mix of decks. Our last opponent was on a brew there, but like we also beat the red white vehicles deck, which I heard won a nationals. I don't know how true that is. Then we beat the very close game that you just saw the turn before that, or the game before that, versus the... I don't even know what it was versus, to be honest. I've already forgot. Wow. I literally already forgot. Now, matches run together when you play many hundred. So this guy was on the red-blue deck. It was a pretty interesting game. I'm not sure that I could have punted it off. He won game 1, which is a game or a match that we typically win by milling, because he also had the rivulets in his deck and he had more deserts than we did in general. He was playing the Scavenging Ground and the Cycler Desert as well, which really just destroys our game 1 deck, or our game 1 plan. Round 2, we beat Red White Vehicles, which I think is a pretty good... It's actually a pretty good deck. It's what we streamed yesterday. My YouTube video will be going up on it tonight, actually. Probably post it here in a little while. Round 3, we lost to the Black-White Servo deck, which both games we missed multiple land drops with Fumigates in our hands, so that's a little disappointing. Round 4, we beat Zombies, and round 5, we beat a Brew. So we played versus a pretty good mix of decks today. I still like this build. I know with this build, I feel like I'm going to lose to all the mono red decks I play, but like I feel like a favorite versus most of the decks in the format. Yeah, going into tomorrow, there's still no changes I would make. The 2 cards that seem most awkward are like these 2 cards, the Stasis Snare and the Essence Scatter. If I was going to make any changes, I think I would start with those 2 cards and maybe look back into Immolating Glares or Ether Meltdowns, maybe an additional land, even. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for me now. It's, as you can see, 7:18 where I live, and I still have to get out of the house and go get a small workout in, because diets are the worst. So we're going to find somebody to host that isn't playing Cube. I guess we'll host... We'll host Murph. I don't exactly know what he's playing, but Murph's donating all of his subscription money and his donation, or all his donations and bits and stuff like that's going to the hurricane relief. And he's a good guy, and he stops by to chat quite often, so we'll throw him out to host for today. I think he's playing Modern. I don't actually know what he's playing, but you know, it's for charity, so charity gets my host. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys, and I appreciate all the new follows, and thank you for the subscription, Auntie D. We appreciate it. Anyway, thanks, everybody.